What's up, YouTube? My name is Ryan. Welcome back to or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Tomorrow night, me and my friends are gonna go see Superman, the beginning of James Gunn's DCU, or at least on the film side of things, I guess. I'm just filming a little intro right now tonight, the day before we see the movie, because tomorrow is Sunday, and I am pretty booked all day until the movie. I'm pretty busy. So I'm just going ahead and filming an intro right now because I'm probably not gonna get a chance to before the movie tomorrow. This is one of my most anticipated films for the year. Superman is my favorite superhero. He's one of my favorite fictional characters. Ever since watching Smallville and Superman and Lois, I just fell in love with the character of Superman. I wasn't really too big of a fan of him before. Like, I saw him in a bunch of other DC media, but I never really watched anything that was like solely focused on Superman. It was like about him until I watched Smallville. And then when I finished watching Smallville for the first time, shortly after that, they announced that Superman and Lois was coming out. And I enjoyed the actors from the Arrowverse, so they got their own TV show, and I watched it, and it was amazing. Very upset that it got canceled, but at least we got the 4 amazing seasons that we got. I just wanted to real quick give my thoughts going into this film, because I feel like with a character like Superman, who's like so popular, who's like one of the most popular fictional characters, he's like the definitive superhero. Everyone knows him, everyone knows his origin and some things about his lore. I feel like it's very difficult to make a movie about like popular superheroes like Superman and Batman and Spider-Man, because we all have like preconceived ideas and we all grew up with different content about those superheroes that kind of formed our ideas of how the character is supposed to be, what they're supposed to be about, how they're supposed to act. And as I just said, my understanding of how Superman is supposed to be mostly is coming from Smallville and Superman and Lois. That's really the only Superman-focused content I've seen. Well, I guess I've seen Man of Steel, but I didn't really like it. I am very nervously excited for this film because from the trailers, like every trailer we got made me more excited and more nervous about the film, because every trailer we got, it had shots in it I'm like, that is very Superman. And then it had some other shots and some other lines where I'm like, ooh, that is not Superman. For example, from my understanding, Superman is a pretty chill, mild-mannered, not easily upset and angered guy, and there's a lot of shots in the trailer, and there's a few moments in the trailers where like David Cornsweet is like shouting and seems to get angry very easily. I know Superman gets angry like anybody does, but I feel like he's a very slow to anger character. He doesn't like flip his lid that easily. But in clips I've seen and in trailers, it seems like he gets upset way too easily, and maybe that is Superman or a version of Superman, but I guess it's not the version of Superman that I like. But regardless, I'm still super excited for this film. There are a lot of reasons I am super excited about it. That's just kind of my history with Superman and my thoughts going into the film. So I guess me and my friends will see y'all tomorrow night when we do our review, which is gonna be just a second away for y'all. So let's just head there right now. Okay guys, welcome to tomorrow night. We just got out of James Gunn's Superman. Guys, what did we think? First off, I want to get general non-spoiler thoughts, then if you all want to talk spoilers,
Okay.
we can do that.
Okay.
But first off, what did y'all think?
Okay.
Initial thoughts.
So going into the film, I saw that it had very good positive reviews from the critics. I think it sits right now at an 82% or an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the audience had given it a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. And if you don't know, having a 90+% on Rotten Tomatoes means that the film is basically going to be a banger from the audience perspective. So going into the film, I'm thinking, man, this film is going to be really dang good. And coming out of the film, I'm like, the audience is tripping. The critics are tripping. What did they see that I didn't see in this film? Certainly, there are parts about this film that are enjoyable. The effects are very enjoyable. I think about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It has a lot of those similar effects in the who directed the film? Ooh. James Gunn? No, but the same director. And so you have those same flying effects, like, for example, on Adam in the Guardians of the Galaxy film. Same effects on Superman. Works pretty well. Also, you have some very nice characters in here, like Mr. Terrific. Dude is awesome. I love that character. He's my favorite character in the entire movie. He's just too cool for school, and
He's too cool for
he's
school.
too cool for school, and he just plays by his own book, you know. And I love that about him. And so he's a really cool character. Doesn't really care about what anybody else thinks. He's like, man, what the heck are you doing? Do you not believe what I'll see? Like, it was just cool things about him. He's a really cool character, and so there's definitely good characters that exist. I think my issue with the film is just what the heck is going on for the first third of this film. I would say the middle part of the film is definitely the best part of the film. It feels like it has a cohesive direction of where it's going, but then that first third, it's just like, what the heck is going on with this? Like, this film doesn't. I don't feel like the film in the first third knows what it wants to be. Then in the middle part, it says, okay, we kind of have an idea of where we want to be, and then in the last third, it goes back to being like, I have no idea what we want to be. Or if it does know what it wants to be, then it just wants to be trash. But I think that's just the harsh thing about it, is that, you know, there's just times where it doesn't feel like it knows what it wants to be, and it's messy and all over the place. The guy who plays Superman does a really good job. I'll also say that. He's a really good Superman. You know, a lot of people would say Henry Cavill, best Superman. I'd actually disagree. I think this guy actually is the best Superman I've seen. He fits the part from the looks. He looks very similar to Henry Cavill, but, you know, he looks like someone that I would look at and be like, man, that's Superman right there. So I really liked the actor selection, the casting selection for Superman. Very good choice. Really good performance from him. But if you want to know what my biggest critique on this film is, and it's my biggest critique, it'll always be my biggest critique with any film. I absolutely hate it when films get political. I cannot stand it, because it's like when they get political at the expense of the actual film being shot. It's like the directors just think they're so high and mighty that they can just be like, oh, look at us, we're so twirls mustache, oh, look at, we're so smart. We're so cool. So, James Gunn, you're not slick, brother. We seen the game. We seen the whole thing with, like, Lex Luthor is Trump, the guy is Russia, he's aligning with Russia essentially, and then this other country is Ukraine or Gaza or something like that, or it's Mexico. He's literally calling himself an alien. Oh, I wonder what he was talking about when he was saying all that stuff. It's not like the political climate's talking about that stuff right now. It's like, come on, man. It's like, just chill out. Like, we get it. You're left leaning. We get it. We get it, man. We get it. But just stop pushing it and shoving it down our throats. We get it, brother. Like, I'm not even joking. If it wasn't so overt, I think I wouldn't even had a problem with it. But it's just like, they had to shove it down our throats. They're like, I'm Superman. And literally, tell me, in the last third of the... Okay, I can't say exactly because this is spoiler-free, but something to the effect of, oh, I am human. My biggest strength is I am human. I'm like, no, it's not, brother. Your biggest strength is that you're freaking Superman. You're a Kryptonian. Like, you're literally strong. You're literally saving people because you're a Kryptonian. Yes, your being human makes you who you are, but... And I did like that. Can I say that? I did like that part of the messaging.
Yes.
But like I said, this is going to go into the fact that, like, that middle part of the film is so solid. Like, I really do mean it. Like, if the middle third of the film was the whole film, this might be one of my favorite films I've seen for the entire year. But the first third and the back third are so bad. I can't justify this film. Like, I wouldn't recommend this film to people unless you really like DC and you really like this. Now, I said all that to say this too. I am looking forward to what James Gunn has in store for us for the next couple of films, because you can tell he actually cares about what he's making, and the film has some very good things going on for it, right? It's just, dude, just cut out your personal, like, garbage and just give us a film, brother. I don't want your personal opinion on stuff. I just don't. And I don't want Superman to tell me about your personal opinion. I want Superman to be Superman. He's coming to save the day, no matter who you are. And yeah, that's what I would say. It's like, I give the film a 5 out of 10. I think it's just it doesn't know what it wants to be too much of the time, and that's the issue.
Okay. Luke, what did you think about Superman?
What do I
my
think?
friend?
General thoughts about this film. There were
General non-spoiler for now.
yeah. I'm gonna keep it non-spoiler. I'm gonna keep it generalized.
Okay.
I thought the action was fascinating.
It's very good.
I would say that I would say that the Lex Luthor character. I was surprised he wasn't like this macho. The actor wasn't like this macho guy. Of course, Superman was. It all made sense. I would say also that there were some themes, and I will explain more in the spoiler version of this. There were some themes, and I think he did say, Josh did say something about political. There was a little fake news element in there, and I will explain in the spoiler stuff. And then there's also kind of the character of, there's some biblical things to it as well, and I'll explain those in the spoiler type stuff as well. What would I give it? I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
Oh, dang, solid.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Okay.
It was a fun movie to watch.
Okay.
There were some
It was fun.
questions
I would agree with that.
did have about it.
Yeah.
There were certain things I was like expecting to happen sooner, like they're always like last minute. This is happening, and it could have, instead of last minute, this could have been done like 10 days earlier. The kind of action stuff that they just like pull out of the pocket last minute, instead of like they could have prevented this whole whatever. Those are my takes on the film. I'll explain those more in detail in the spoilers.
Okay.
And actually, could I add something?
Yeah, of course, Josh.
Nicholas Hoult does do a very good job as Lex Luthor. I was very impressed with Nicholas Holt's performance as Lex Luthor.
But what about the Buster Scruggs moment?
The bus is like he starts spazzing out. He starts circling. Well, I mean, that's a valid crash out, if you want to be honest. This man built a whole career on building. Okay, we can't talk about it, but yeah, it's a valid crash out from Lex Luthor. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add, because he brought up a good point with Lex Luthor. The character was cool.
Okay. So going into this film, I was excitedly nervous for it because Superman is my favorite superhero. Smallville is my favorite TV show. Superman and Lois is another one of my favorite TV shows. I think they do a phenomenal job with the Superman mythology. And James Gunn directing sounded like a great, but also I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't sure that was such a great idea, because he has this he likes to inject this dark, rude, irreverent humor into his films, and that's not Superman, or my understanding of the character. And this feels like a Superman movie injected with James Gunn's weird, irreverent, dark humor. And so, unfortunately, that made it lose a lot of points for me. There was so many moments in the film with humor that I just felt was like disrespectful, dark, doesn't fit with the Superman mythology. A lot of characters, they were acting out of character. David Cornsweet's Superman, there were some moments where I'm like, that is so Superman, and there were some moments where I'm like, oof, that's not Superman. I talked in the intro about how in the trailers, he seems to get angry very easily, and Superman's not a character who flips his lid very easily. He's very calm, cool, and collected. Even when he's angry, he manages to hold back his anger. I'll talk more about it in the spoilers, but he gets angry very easily, and he gets very shouty, and that's just not Superman. Jimmy Olsen is not a ladies' man. He's awkward. He is Superman's best pal, and they don't really interact in the film much. He has all these girls chasing after him, and that's not Jimmy Olsen at all. He's a photographer. He doesn't even carry a camera or take one picture in this film. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, I thought he did a fine job. He's no Michael Rosenbaum, but he did a fine job, I thought. Krypto, I was so excited for him to be in this film because I love dogs. I grew up with the Krypto the Super Dog TV show. But I don't like how they did Krypto. They just made him a regular dumb dog who doesn't listen, and that is not Krypto. Krypto is much more intelligent than your average dog. He knows not to jump on Superman because he can clearly see that he's hurt. He knows to listen to him the first time. Superman doesn't have to try and get his attention or anything like that. He's just acting like a regular dumb old dog who gets distracted by a ball or something like that. I've heard a lot of critics say that this film is very comic booky, and that's the reason a lot of people love this film. That's one reason I didn't really like this film, unfortunately. It gets so comic booky and so weird in a bad way, in my opinion. There are some nice moments in the film. Like I said, there are some moments that felt very Superman, but I guess that's all I have to say non-spoiler wise. So let's start going around the room.
Wait,
and
out of 10,
spoiler
what would you
thoughts.
give this?
5 out of 10, honestly.
Hey,
I
come
really
on over
wanted
to the
to-
dark side, brother.
I really wanted to love this film. I was really looking forward to it, and it unfortunately disappointed me. I'm sorry, guys, but I gotta be honest. Hey, Luke. Non-spoiler thoughts for... the opposite. Spoiler thoughts for Superman.
Yep.
What do you have anything to say here?
So I do, in fact. I wanted to say first of all, to elaborate more on the themes aspect in relation to what's biblical, what's kind of compared to the Bible. We have Superman as our very, very obvious Jesus figure, right?
Superman
He-
has been used as a Christ-like figure in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to kind of emphasize more on the Pharisee and, the Satan kind of aspects there. You know how the Pharisees in the Bible twist what Jesus says and turn it into a heretical kind of thing. Well, there was the parents of Superman message that they had that spoke about.
That was the biggest problem for me with this film.
And it confused people. It made people question whether the second half of that message was actually twisted by the evil, the forces of evil.
Well, it wasn't twisted. That's what they actually said, right?
Well, it does make people. It makes people question whether that's. I think it may have been it may have been twisted by them manipulating the message, by manipulating the thing to make it say that Superman has come to destroy the Earth.
I thought that was genuine.
Is that comic book? Because I feel like comic book accurate. That actually did happen. Like the second part of that message.
See, there's so many different iterations and different versions, but I think initially, Superman is sent to the Earth
Yeah.
just because his plant's blowing up and his parents want to save him.
Yeah, because I see what you're saying, Luke. Because I think that wasn't twisted. I think that was actually what was on the second part of the message.
Yes, I think
But-
so too.
But the thing was, obviously, they're using that to say, oh, well, look, Superman is this guy who wants to destroy the Earth, even though Superman's obviously, he doesn't get that part of the message.
Right.
So I think there's something there. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right. Either way, it's all portrayed to go after him.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all portrayed to go after him. So they all want him, crucified, if you will. Another thing I wanted to say, there are a couple other things I wanted to say. There was some physical, there's some. It's actually, in Big Bang Theory, there's some physics questions that Sheldon had about when Superman tries to catch Lois Lane, they'll split into 3 pieces. She'll split into 3 pieces, right?
Oh
I didn't
gosh.
actually see any of that happening. Oh, actually, no, I kind of did, because if you're catching the big rocks, which he did twice, 3 times, then in theory the rest of the rock is supposed to collapse down. So he has to spread himself evenly in order to he has to flatten himself in order to catch the whole rock and keep the rock from splitting into a ring, and then a little tiny slab that I guess the other person in theory is still being saved, but the whole rest is supposed to collapse around them. Instead of having a big gap between the rock and the ground, right? Superman, in theory, would split it into a ring and another little tiny patch. Well, anyway, I digress from that. There were some times when I thought, well, so Superman could have maybe whistled to the dog a lot earlier to save everything from happening last minute.
Yeah, that's
true.
what I thought
That's what I was
too.
thinking too.
The black hole. They're getting out of the black hole. Why couldn't Superman whistle earlier? Why couldn't he Why couldn't he shoot his lasers out of his eyes earlier? Why couldn't he punch the guy earlier?
Stop it, Luke. We have to progress the film forward.
Yeah, the film has its moments of trying to get everybody.
We have to make the stakes.
Edge on their seats, you know, and get on the edge of their seats. But if Superman has like infinite powers, then he should be able to do that a lot earlier. You know that. But anyway, there is another thing I wanted to emphasize here, and it's just there's some subtle elements of hookup culture, and there's some really, really obvious ones. I'll talk about the really obvious.
Oh, yeah.
The really obvious one, the nice guy. The nice guy, you know, we know what happens after the movie. We know what's going to happen to them after the movie, but during the movie...
They're about to have a Bible study, brother.
Well, I'll get to that, but...
Oh, my God.
But...
About to have a Bible study.
So the nice guy, he runs into a lady in the alley, and you know how that's gonna
Jimmy
end
Olsen.
every single time. Jimmy Olsen, yeah.
That's his name.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen. He runs into that.
He was just concerned for his friend. He was just concerned.
Well, I mean, I do like that he utilizes that to kind of actually come up with superhero stuff. They find clues about everything, and that kind of works towards the plot of saving the good guys, you know. But we all know what's going to happen afterwards. We all know he's going to get hurt by her, and she's going to manipulate him, and she's going to ditch him. We all know that's going to happen. And this is why we emphasize the guys to stand up for themselves, to say no to stuff like that, you know.
Huh?
And if he
I'll
does,
be honest, you lost me.
if he does pursue like whatever with her, like he needs to be a man and be a leader in that, you know, that thing. And as Josh suggested, they need to go to the Bible study.
No, I think that's what they were doing. No, I'm joking. They were
Of course, right. And if this is a movie, you all know that's not Bible studies. Unfortunately, not going to be realistic in movies. But what I'm saying is that, you know, the man being manipulated by the woman kind of culture that exists with that's how it all started with Adam and Eve. Eve actually being the one who was stronger than the passive Adam. But I digress. I was not rooting for that couple for obvious reasons. Lois Lane and Clark Kent, they were kind of in a situationship for 3 months, but like, you know, the fact that he got her to say I love you back, you know, that was pretty delayed. That was quite funny. We were on a cliffhanger for that the whole movie. There's a lot of things that you can draw conclusions to. Those are just my conclusions.
Okay.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Hey. Ryan's on brand.
Josh, do you have any spoiler thoughts?
I don't have any spoiler thoughts.
Ryan, do you have any spoiler reviews?
Or how do you want to wrap us up here tonight?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, my biggest problem with the film was when we found out that so they mentioned that the second half of the message from Superman's parents got damaged on the way to Earth. And so they managed to salvage that, the villains do, and we find out that Superman's supposed to like conquer the world and take a bunch of wives and all that. And I'm like, you just ruined Superman's parents. Like, that message is supposed to be really meaningful. It's supposed to be about how much they love him, about sending him to Earth to protect him, and that he's supposed to be a good person and help people and use his powers for good and to be their savior and all that. And you just took all that away. You just ruined Superman's parents. And part of Superman's character and his journey and his origin and all that. Like I said, it's very comic booky, it's very weird at points, like Lex Luthor having that pocket dimension prison. Like, what the heck? That's not Lex Luthor, brother. That's not Lex Luthor. And Nicholas Holt's performance got really silly at times.
Yeah.
I just couldn't take him seriously sometimes. A lot of this film I just could not take seriously.
That lip quivering?
Yeah. And then Mr. Terrific's scenes were really cool, like that scene where he goes to that base to try and get Superman out of the prison with Lois, and he has that force field around them. But the music that played does not fit. That felt straight out of Guardians of the Galaxy. This is Superman, not Guardians of the Galaxy.
But he is a Guardian of the Galaxy.
It doesn't fit James Gunn. James Gunn, it doesn't fit, okay? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The music in this film felt like Guardians of the Galaxy, and it didn't work.
Wait, is he not a Guardian of the Galaxy, Ryan?
Who, Superman?
Is he? Yeah, is he not a Guardian of the Galaxy?
I know what you mean, but no, he's not a Guardian of the Galaxy. And then at the end, Supergirl appears. I was not expecting that.
They're making a television show on her.
They did make a television show, but they're making a movie that comes out next year. So Krypto's actually her dog, which makes much more sense why he wasn't listening to Superman and being a good boy. And then Supergirl's just this drunk party girl.
She's literally Thor, but Supergirl.
Yeah, humbled Thor, cast you out of Asgard Thor.
This is Aquaman, but Supergirl.
No, but that's not Supergirl, James Gunn. Supergirl's not this drunk, dumb, idiot party girl, okay? She's a much more interesting character because she actually grew up on Krypton. She has memories of it, and she actually got to say goodbye to her parents when they put her in the escape pod and all that. But she just doesn't seem to give a care about anything but partying. I really hope the Supergirl film is good, but if this film wasn't good, I don't think that film will be good either, unfortunately.
Cook.
Somehow, the Supergirl TV show with Melissa Benoist will be better than that film. There's also a scene where, like, there's this big, like, giant monster flying in the sky right out Superman's apartment window, and he's just letting the Justice Gang, you know, like Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific handle it. He's like, oh, they're fine, they don't need my help.
Is Guy Gardner the freaking Green Lantern guy?
Yeah. And it's like, bruh, Superman would go out there and help right stinking now. What's he doing just chilling in his apartment talking to Lois, being like, oh, they got it. Like, what? But a scene I did really like is towards the end when Superman's saying that he's not human, but he is human because, like, one thing I love about Superman is, like, he has all these fantastic powers, and he is an alien that comes from a different planet, but he's very humble, and, like, Kryptonians aren't any better than humans. Like Superman says in this film, they get scared, they mess up, and I really liked that. That felt very Superman to me. The third act was actually probably my favorite act of the film. I'm going to disagree with you slightly, Josh, just because I just really liked that scene and the ending with Lois and all of that. The relationship with Clark and Lois, there's points where it's, like, really good and really heartfelt and emotional, but I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about not seeing them meet for the first time. And, like, from the trailers, you can tell, like, when the film starts, they've already met. She already knows Superman's identity. But 3 months into the relationship, really? He trusts her that much already? Like, really? That's not Superman mythology, brother. It does not fit. A lot of this film does not respect
You wouldn't tell her.
to
You
the
wouldn't tell her
Superman
that you're
mythology.
Clark Kent on the third. You wouldn't tell her that you're Superman on the third date.
Yeah, exactly. And then, this is a minor thing, but that engineer girl who had, like, nanotech, her whole body was made out of nanotech. I thought she was going to be Mercy Graves, like Lex's right-hand henchwoman with the robotic laser cannon arm, but it was just this random person, the engineer. Dang, I think I gotta stop, because then I'm just going to keep going and
You're
keep
gonna crash
ranting.
out.
Yeah, I'm going to... Oh, gosh. I think that's all.
Ryan, wrap us up with your outro.
Okay, guys, I'm really sorry about such a negative review on this one. I really wanted to love this film. Maybe it'll go up for me on rewatch, but as of right now, it's a 5 out of 10. Does not do justice to the Superman mythology. I hope y'all still enjoyed watching this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Help us put more godly Christian content out there in the world. Let us know what you thought about Superman down below. Even if you, immensely disagree with us, tell us why in the comments below. I guess we'll see y'all in the next video. Y'all got anything else to say? Josh?
That's it.
Want to tell anyone to go to therapy?
Nah.
Okay. Okay.
I just lost my dog.
That's when
I just had to take it back.
That's when Superman bursts to Lex Luthor's office. He's like, "Where's the dog, Luthor?"
That's right.